character of Dr. Wallace finds that is loosely based on Walter Friedman, who invented the lobotomy, and he is kind of a fascinating example of a particular kind of male entrepreneurial intelligence that is hell-bent on lunging into the future without the slightest sort of capacity to deal with ramifications, you know, and that's something that seems really relevant today. I mean, there's a lot, we just headlong, you know, and there's just the detritus of civilization around us, and we're unaware of it. And Ty's character sort of comes of age. It's a take on the classic sort of, you know, like the coming of age story, and in the shadow of this sort of oppression, I suppose.
I wanted to work with Rick. I'd loved his other movies, you know, and I loved talking to him and his ideas about this. You know, I was interested in learning about Walter Friedman, who, you know, did President Kennedy's sister, you know, famously. And I was reading this book by Kurt Anderson, Fantasyland, or How America Went Haywire, all about the shadow side of the American character from the very beginning. And as it coincides with my own life in 1954, that's right around the time it's just a couple of years after I was born. My dad was a doctor, and it still interests me terrifically what he's thinking about poetic kind of investigation of America and where we're at, and the masculine identity, and all that. And I like the different parts of that character and the ability to do things simply sometimes and restrainedly, you know. I loved all his ideas.
I find the same thing in Rick's work, and that's something that it always really inspired me, and I always really admired. And I like the vision and wanting to explore something that, you know, can seem unconventional, but also really provokes, you know, certain ideas that are surrounding us that sometimes we're oblivious to, and that we don't consciously, that they're not consciously on our minds all the time, especially when we're watching films. You know, I think this movie, for instance, with the character that I play, he's quite inaccessible. He doesn't speak a lot, and I think we're not used to seeing that type of protagonist. So already the movie feels a bit unique, and then it explores all these ideas that are, you know, revolving around the film, like, you know, the white male supremacy, and the mid-century era in America, and I think that was all there on the page when you read the script. But I was just, you know, I wanted to kind of jump on board with Rick and part of this really bold and challenging movie.
I struggled to get this film financed for a while, and but the folks at Vice came on, and they're willing to take real risks, and wanting to sort of like stir things up in the like if you're interested in unsettling and you have an interest in discomfort, that's, even if it's constructive, it's something that is everybody's risk averse to, because they think that maybe they suppose I'm just going to rearrange the furniture in the room, and, you know, I'm a troublemaker, and I think maybe they're right, but, you know, they should get to know me. So I'm really excited for this film, and with Kino doing a longer theatrical where it's unavailable online for a period, so that people, you know, have to have a desire to want to see it, you know. And I think that's something that's sort of past, you know. That's sort of like, where is it? How do I find it? You know, that builds a desire in an audience, and I think it can be really constructive, especially for a film like this that, you know, is going to poke at you a bit.